Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Wilosophy vlog. My name is Will, as you should know, and today we have Luba. Luba, do you know what? I've known you quite some time now. I can't pronounce your second name.
No one can. My full name is Luba Diasamidze.
It's a mouthful. Okay, so if you're new to Wilosophy vlog, I was just talking to Luba because we had to catch up. So I'd like to film the small businesses, not the big unicorn businesses in China, the ones that really had this hard graft and tough upbringing to get to where they are. And we're just talking about this cafe that we're in that Luba's recommended to shoot in, and it's called Tease Cafe.
Tease Me?
Tease Me Cafe. So quick introduction about yourself, and let's talk about this cafe because it's quite interesting, because it kind of comes into who you are as a person and where you want to go.
Right. I've lived in China for almost 10 years already. And I started working in education here, as this is what I've done for years. And now I'm transitioning to professional coaching and building my international coaching practice.
Okay, international. We'll talk about international because that means something very different. So tell me about Tease Me Cafe, because it is nice. We're in the garden of the cafe. The barista's there, and there's a little kind of room there. And
Tease Me is a really great place that has special energy, lots of soul in it, as I told you. It was started by my friend, Christine. You know, the story behind Tease Me is that this business started when Christine and I both decided to quit our managerial jobs with a large company.
On the same day? On
the same day, right, and focus on our small kids who are about the same age.
Yes. And
then she decided to start Tease Me with a bunch of friends, and they opened in 2014, and they've been in business until now, which is really great.
We were just reflecting, so if you watch the very first episode, it's a coffee shop called Fillmore. And they've been around 4 years. This place has been around longer, so maybe we need to talk to Christine about her journey as well. So watch this space, Christine. I'm going to speak to you if you're watching this. But back to you, Luba. So you came to China from where are you from? How did you get to China? And then 10 years in China, and then quitting. Where are you from?
My mum was from Russia. My dad is from Georgia. I spent time in both countries as I grew up. And then in 2009, my husband got a job with a local company, got a job in marketing, so he relocated, and then I followed.
Okay. And then you got a job as you said you was a manager and you quit that job. So you also got a job.
Education management.
Education management. And then why did you quit?
I had my first child. I had my daughter, and then I was really conflicted because you know, I really loved my job. All the jobs I had, I loved all of them, and I would have never voluntarily quit any of them, but there were some circumstances that always made me move forward, and that was the moment in 2014 when she was 5 months old. I went back to work and I kept going for 3 months, but then, you know, this inner conflict was really overwhelming, so I decided to quit.
Okay, interesting, you used the word forward. Okay, so recently done as a guest at Leanin, and lots of Chinese women see that seeing having children hampers and stops them from moving forward. I mean, for you, using the word forward means that if I didn't quit, you wouldn't be here today. Maybe.
Right.
Would that be a fair assumption?
Yeah, I think I used to be, or maybe I still am, a very conservative person, a person who is not going to move much. If everything is set up kind of, because as I told you, I loved all the careers that I had, and I was pretty much focused on developing further in that career, kind of going deeper and becoming an expert, and then something always happened, so I had to, but it was a growing experience, I think, and I think that kids do not really stop you, they'll inspire you, because you focus on things that you still have to do for yourself, but then you have to make different parts of your life agree.
Okay.
And that's how it works.
So what was the kind of, so you say, you know, your daughter, daughter was 5 months old.
Yeah.
And what was that moment when you said, that's it? Did you have a conversation with your husband to say, do you know what?
I had a conversation with Christine.
Talk to your husbands, talk to your best friends.
No, I talked to my husband, of course, but he didn't really want to force me, make any decisions. Like he said, it's really up to you. If you want to stay, stay. If you want to quit, but you're the one who decides. And then I think I really needed a coach back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that was a very difficult decision to make. So I talked to Christine, and then...
Is Christine a coach?
No, she's not. She's also education. But yeah, but because I found her situation to be similar, so what she said, what she shared resonated with me, and then I thought over and I decided to do that.
So more often than not, when you come up in a decision in life, call it a crossroads or fork in a road, I think speaking to people is quite useful, because what you normally find, and this is why I guess Alcoholics Anonymous works, I know we've gone off track here, it's because they find a sense of community. I'm not in this by myself, actually we're in this together, and then you kind of draw that kind of energy from each other and the motivation that drives you to actually move forward. And in coaching, as we know, you need to find a support environment for you to be able to move forward. So Christine was there supporting your husband's there to support him as well.
Yeah.
So.
I think when you talk to people, even if you don't have a coach, you just talk to people, it helps you articulate your own thoughts, so you can hear yourself better and then understand yourself a little bit better, and this is how you make authentic decisions.
That's what self-coaching is, and listen to the inner self as well. Okay, so we're going down this coach. I know Luba says, people don't really want to listen to what coaches say, only coaches listen. Both coaches, both kind of, yeah, this is a great conversation. But in terms of moving on, how did you get, so that was, when was that then, when your daughter was 5 months old? How long has that been now since that position was made?
Since what transition was that?
Yeah, when you left your management role.
Okay, so I quit my job in 2014.
Okay.
And then I spent some time enjoying myself, professional development. I did the Cambridge Delta for deployment in education, and then I decided to have my son. And then I have 2 kids now. And then when my son was he was 2 months old, I thought, okay, I'm getting bored with 2 small kids. So I need to find something to do, and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to train and mentor new teachers. So I took a certification in e-moderation, which is basically managing online learning communities.
Okay.
And then I started looking for a job as an e-moderator or an online trainer, and I found a couple of online jobs, one with a Spanish company, another with a Canadian company. Okay. And I've worked remotely since then until, well, basically last July, and last year in July I started doing my coach training, the professional coach training, and now I'm trying to, transition to coaching full-time.
And giving up your e-moderation job?
I gave up one of them last year because it was too much for me to do, and I still have the other one. Okay,
so let me get this straight. So is it still a priority for you to be a mentor trainer for teachers, or is coaching your priority now?
I think coaching is pretty much my priority now.
Okay, so what's changed? So the reason I'm asking is because you did set out, you was bored and you took some Cambridge qualifications, then moved on to e-module, which is, I think is, in China it's massive, VIP kids, everything's e-learning, and I think the future of learning is, a lot of it's e-learning. But you're moving away from that to go to coaching, and we'll talk about e-coaching as well in a moment. But what decided, why did coaching suddenly become the thing for you to do?
I think it's because I changed, and I got, at a certain stage, I got a long holiday away from China, so I was kind of disconnected from my everyday reality, and I got a lot more headspace. And then once I got that headspace, different thoughts started coming, and different inspirational readings, etc. And I started asking myself questions. And then I thought that I really wanted to have more of it and to know it in greater detail. Well, I did coaching training when I was a manager, My first coaching training was done in 2012, so I wasn't completely new to coaching.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, you know, when you're a trainer, you are kind of the smartest person in the room.
Yes.
And they say if you are the smartest,
if
you are the expert, if you're the smartest
room.
person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yes.
Right? But when you coach, you're never the smartest person in the room, because the amount of insights I'm getting from my clients is immense. And every coached session changes me and improves me and accelerates me, and I'm feeling like, oh my God, I'm so grateful you're giving me this opportunity, guys, to help me move forward with what you are saying about yourself.
So do you know that you're doing the right thing now in terms of wanting to be a coach?
That's a great question. I think this is what agrees with me most at this stage of my life, and I really value this feeling of alignment. I really need to feel aligned in all areas of my life.
Okay. The reason I asked you that, and I use specific words, because when you talked about when you was on holiday, you used the word I think, and now I use specifically NLP is do you know, and then you've kind of taken it further to say you're aligning. This is why coaches, when they get together, they kind of practice constantly. You're aligning stuff that you want to be able to achieve. And I think the important message I've just got from you, Luba, is no matter what you set yourself, and I read this somewhere yesterday, is that you set yourself a direction, but you don't really know if that's the destination. But you have to go forward. And you know, from your journey from, where did you go on holiday?
When?
Where did you go?
Where? Vietnam.
Vietnam. I'm in Vietnam, August. So maybe I might have my next epiphany. So if you want to find out what you want to do, Vietnam is a good place. So from Vietnam to where you are today, it's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're smiling, and I always say smiling is a good barometer of success. So I touched earlier on about e-learning and China being massive in e-learning. So as part of today's vlog, I wanted to go and shoot some of the footage of Luba in action. And little did I know until the day.
All my action is virtual.
So I wanted to go into this workshop with Luba and do some shooting so that I could put into today's video. And little did I know until the day that you sent me a Zoom invite. So she sent me a Zoom invite because Will, it's e-coaching. I said, what the hell? Okay, this is interesting. So I joined. So thank you. I had it was interesting. I was going to okay, I'm just going to sit here and just listen, observe, and maybe do some recording. But Luba involved me with the coaching. I haven't been coached for a long time, other than my coach supervisor. And I think, you know, even though there's strangers on the call, I felt very comfortable to talk about some of my insecurities.
That amazes every time. All these people I get in these online coaching demonstrations, which are open, I never know myself who's going to join, right? And most of the people who join, the Tuesday session was an exception, but most of the time I get people I've never met before. And I'm amazed at how open they become and how much they're willing to share. So that really gives me evidence that coaching is needed and people want to be heard.
I think it's that safe. I mean, I use the word safe environment, and I don't really like using the term safe environment because it sounds like everything else is it's the Wild West and it's dangerous. I'm living my life and I'm treading on eggshells. But we'll use it for the sake of conformity. And when it brings back to Alcoholics Anonymous again, I think it's when they find that ability to find that I'm not the only one, people just start to open up more. And I started because I felt that, you know, if everyone's really quiet, I know I'm a coach myself, and let me take that step and talk about myself. As soon as I start speaking about myself and my insecurities or where I think my situation is and I should improve, other people think, do you know what? I've got the same problem, or I'm in a similar situation, and then people start to open up.
Coaching context,
absolutely.
Because they just learn from each other so much, and they're getting their insights from each other, and they understand they're not the only people with problems.
What I felt was really good about the group coaching online was, I've been to webinars before, okay, and they try to cram in so much information in 45 minutes. Slide, bullet point, slide, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. Yours wasn't.
No, it was a demonstration.
Yours was just basically 2 slides. The second slide maybe had 5 bullet points, which is basically to wrap up our conversation, just to move us on and giving us creating actions, and I just kind of felt that that's why I felt it was, the pace of it, the rhythm was okay, you kind of went round, you mixed it up, and I quite like that, actually. I'm not going to say that I thought it was going to be really shitty, but in fact I find a lot of things quite shitty. That wasn't, and I'm being really honest about that, and I did thank you afterwards on WeChat, and I have taken my action, and the word that I thought of to anchor my feeling does have a swear word in it.
Oh wow. Well, as long as it works for you.
So where did you draw that inspiration of doing e-coaching or e-group coaching from? Was it from the e-modules?
Well, the thing is that I studied coaching at an American school. They are in Maryland.
Okay.
And all our sessions are online sessions.
Yes.
So that's pretty easy when you learn coaching online. And when we started, like when I first learned about professional coaching certification and started thinking whether or not I can do it here, and then when I started learning with my school, they said, you know, in the US, 80% of coaches work on the phone.
In the US, really?
Yeah. Not even online, not even Zoom conferences, but on the phone line.
Okay.
And I thought, oh wow, that's pretty interesting. And you know, that's something that resonates with me, that's something I can do from anywhere. So basically, if we move to a new place, I won't have to start everything from zero. I'll have my coaching clients, I'll have the same kind of practice. So I have a lot of freedom.
Okay. So you've taken an idea that.
And then I tried it because we were coached. So when we started the first modules, we were taught skills and foundation course. We had our homework, so all my fellow students are from the US, and we practiced together. So I got a lot of practice coaching online, and I know it can be just as effective as face-to-face, sometimes even more effective, because when you talk to someone, there are a lot of distractions, right? But when a lot of my clients like phone calls using, and you know, so maybe WeChat calls or WhatsApp calls, where applications they might be, because they can only focus on my voice. And they don't have to get distracted. That helps them focus. And I can listen at a deeper level as well, because I analyze that I think practicing phone coaching and e-coaching is really great for coaches because it helps them really be present and improve their active listening skills when they pay attention to the change of pace and tone of voice and intonation and pauses and all those non-verbal signs.
Okay, that's quite interesting because I don't like non-skin to skin, face to face.
It's great, there are options.
So my coach, when I had an executive coach, she was in London, and I used to pace my office. So I had a headphone on, and I used to pace around my office, and people would walk past and wave, and I'd wave back, and I wasn't 100% present myself. But I guess on the other line she probably was. But I did give me the opportunity to whiteboard as well because I was in the office. But it really worked because there was a time on the group coaching the other evening where I won't mention the gentleman's name for confidentiality.
No, absolutely.
But he spoke, and then you just left it as, you know, the silences are quite powerful, and then he just carried on. So it does work. It does work.
Yeah.
The only thing I would ask is there an optimal number? Because there was 3 of us, including you 4. If it got to 8, that would be too many people.
Absolutely. For 8 people, I wouldn't do it in the most that we did, right? So I gave you, each of you an opportunity to be coached. Basically for 8 people that it would probably have worked better with a volunteer who'd agreed to do a 10-minute demonstration, and then everyone could just share some learning. We try to limit the group size, the group coaching sessions, just to make sure people get enough
What is
attention.
it that you're limiting it to?
I think 4 is optimum, to be honest, when I do group coaching.
So one more person would have been ideal.
4. Okay. Yeah. But it really doesn't matter because sometimes there's a lot of wiggle room and variety. Zoom can let you use breakout rooms, so if you want people to discuss something and brainstorm together and then share with others, you can put them in breakout rooms and they have individual pair discussions.
That's really good. So I know Luba doesn't work for Zoom, she's not officiating, promoting Zoom.
No,
but
it's a convenient platform.
It's really convenient, but if you want to use Zoom, as she says, just even if you have a team meeting or a business meeting and you want to kind of branch out into different rooms, I think that's quite powerful as well.
Absolutely. Well, WebEx is another app, just for those who might think I work for Zoom.
I work for WebEx. No, I don't.
Adobe Connect.
Okay. And then you also gave the really good example of where someone's trying to time splice their activities, use Toggle. So for me, it's like, I didn't know that Toggle, wow. Because we use something called Maps, which is why are you spending your time each day, but Toggle sounds even more useful and it kind of prompts you as well. If
you spend a lot of your time in front of your laptop, Toggle is a great tool because it prompts you at random times. It gives you those pop-up windows, and you have to enter the activity that you are doing at the moment, or when you start it, when you finish it, which is convenient. I had to use it. It was very useful when I had to juggle multiple projects, and I needed to make sure, like the situation from the other person in the session, right, that who had 2 projects of different priority, and he was feeling he's spending the same amount of time on both projects, even though one was of a higher priority. So Toggle makes it very straightforward because you're getting a daily email report which tells you how much time you spent on each project. And
I used to explain this I used to call it peeling the tomato, how much time you should spend peeling a tomato, but Toggle sounds way much better. So if you want to send me the link and I'll make Toggle appear here on the video as well as Zoom and WebEx. But so I was just thinking, as you're telling me, Luba, if you did have more people and using the power of technology, would you, so if there were like 9 people, 8 people in that room, and you couldn't get around to asking everyone what their actions were, would you then start evolving your business where people can then start diarising actions in a separate app that you can provide? I'm just thinking out loud here. So where am I going with that? I'd like to see how this e-coaching, online coaching could grow, where you could create your own app.
Exactly. I'm not sure if you're following WBEX, that Executive Coaches Summit, which is also online, which is...
I am, because we're on video.
So let's feature it on this video.
Okay, there you go, just here it is.
So I've just subscribed to a few pre-summit sessions yesterday, and I've noticed...
Oh, I am, yes. I get emails from Rob.
No, they have a new CEO.
Okay.
So, and
it accounts towards your PCC credits and
stuff. Yes, because it provides a lot of, I think, over 170 CCEs, which don't contribute to the initial certification, but the continued education.
Just to pause there, and just on that. So, if we're talking jargon, we're talking about Luba's getting accredited to be a professional certified coach from the ICF, which needs credit. So, somewhere on this screen, we'll put the ICF logo and a link to the ICF and how we're accredited. So, if you want a coach, make sure they're accredited by the ICF because they're the regulatory body. So, we're just talking about these webinars and these sessions that contribute to us getting further certified to a high level. So just FYI.
Yeah, going back to that, if you check their most recent email with the list of all the free summit sessions they provide, you'll see how big coaching goes in this world. I'm going to speak about artificial intelligence in coaching because all those self-coaching apps, it may feel that some coaches are in danger because these self-coaching apps, they're becoming smarter and smarter, and how they may replace coaches. But I think nowadays getting professional coaching certification is more important than ever. And just continually developing in this area. But yeah, that's a good point, and I think they're going to discuss more.
Yes, good. I did a seminar 16 months ago, and one of the slides was talking about disruption of technology on coaching. So I think I think it's a double-edged blade here, because as technology comes into the workplace in general, the future of work means you have to be more emotionally intelligent, you have to be more tuned to your EQ and being more human, because you're managing not only humans but technology and the interaction between those. So coaching actually facilitates and helps that, but at the same time, as you said, there are apps that you can download and it kind of prompts you and to think about meditation, challenging questions that come up based on learning about that person using the app. So
but you can also interact with those apps and cooperate with them, right? So they're not your competitors, they can be your assistant, because as coaches we always have to follow up on our coaching clients, right, and check on their progress and make sure, especially those busy people who don't have a fixed schedule, who might have one session in 2 weeks, it's quite easy to get off track. And you can use, as a coach, you can use technology to help them stay on track before your next coaching conversation.
this could be a defining moment in coaching.
It can complement your practice and enrich your practice, not just compete with you and replace you, you know.
Okay.
Depends on how good you are.
What day is it today? May the
16.
16th. May 16, 2019. I'm going to ask Luba. Luba, I'm a technologist as well, as you know. Why don't we get together somehow, brainstorm something called Coach Luba as an app? Okay, that obviously does connection, that people can register and do e-group coaching, but also it's an assistant, and then it machine learns about whoever's using it, their habits, what they do. But they have to, obviously, you get out what you put in, and then that can start asking those and prompting and say, look, now it's time to speak to Coach
You know,
Luba.
if you've noticed that about me, you know that I'm not looking for threats or dangers. It's not that I don't have this mindset. I don't think like I'm in a, you know, fierce competition where, you know, I'm threatened by apps, I'm threatened by other coaches, I'm threatened by whatever, right? I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to be good at who I am and what I do. And I know that if, I attract certain types of people, and those are exactly the people I want to be with. So I think as long as I have this integrity and authenticity, there'll be people who need it. It doesn't matter how many apps or how much competition there's around.
So I was thinking maybe we can create an app called Coach Luba.
Yeah.
And it helps.
Okay, guys, you heard that?
Yeah, it's just an app. I've got friends who build apps in Guangzhou and Shenzhen. I have a tech team. And look, I could have interviewed or spoke to many coaches, because the coaching community in Guangzhou is bigger than people know. Okay, there's one reason I wanted to talk to you in particular is because I like talking to females who are mothers and starting their own business. But when I speak to you, I see the integrity of coaching. There are lots of coaches out there that have integrity, but we've had deep conversations about how coaching is growing. And in terms of, you know, in your view, coaching in China, I think there's a real need. Okay, how difficult is it in your view to grow coaching in China?
You know, now I work as I'm building my international coaching practice. I currently have clients in Russia, in China, and in the US.
Okay. It's
easier to talk to people from the US just because, you know, almost everyone there is a coach already. So they know a lot about coaching as an industry. There are a lot of professional coaches. It's a great community to be with. I think China and Russia are somewhat similar because coaching is somewhat new, maybe, and the public awareness is not that big. And maybe people do not, they certainly know coaching exists, they just do not see the connection between the benefits of coaching and their own situation.
Yes.
And I think this is why we're doing all this education work. And I'm an educator, you know, so I do have this urge to educate others.
Yes. Shooting this video is part of that, is making people aware and educated.
Yeah, so that's the reason for the other project that we started, and the pro bono initiative, and what I'm doing in my media channels for free involvement of people to get them to try coaching.
Yes, okay. In terms of balancing, and we talked about now I know Luba's got two very young, well, not so young children now.
5 and 3.
5 and 3, which is still quite a handful. How do you balance your time as a working mother, and obviously coming out to meet me's, consuming your time as well? So how do you balance your life?
Well, I think when you have kids, the balance kind of comes natural, right? Because I know I don't work a lot in the evening. I don't work a lot on weekends because I am taking care of the kids. So I try to organize my day so that it's from 8 to 5, basically. And this is when I have my meetings, my sessions, my, you know, like all the paperwork that I have to do.
Okay.
I do sometimes work at night when needed, but I try to have this.
Do you use
balance.
Toggle to manage your life?
I don't use Toggle to manage my life. I should start using Toggles again because I've got a few projects going on.
Okay, a few more plus Coach Luba app now. Okay. So what's for the future? So we've talked about the past, but what's happening now, and you said, you know, what you're doing now is aligned to what you believe to be wanting to do. So you're here because your husband's here. Is it an assumption that if your husband decides to go back to Russia, is it? You'd be gone as well? You'd have to move, or what's
I think we are both pretty much open to relocation. Not necessarily back home, but we really like to explore a little bit, and I think it's useful for kids, to be honest,
Absolutely, I agree.
to live in different environments. So, yeah, I completely agree that we may relocate, you know, at any time. So that's exactly the reason why I want to carry my business with me, carry my coaching practice with me.
Yes.
So I don't feel upset or frustrated that I'm investing my time, my life into building something so meaningful, and then I have to leave it behind.
Okay, but that works because your coaching business, we'll call it, is online anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the magic. So that's wonderful. That's why I think she's a genius.
I'm telling you, when you have kids, you just look for ways for things to happen.
Yeah.
When you have small kids, especially. So I hope this doesn't stop anyone who has small kids from exploring your own ways, because there's always a way. You just have to find it.
Fantastic. And I know that there's a few other female coaches that I know. So Elise Crispin and Meta Sgard, even Petra.
Yeah.
I can't pronounce Petra's second name. My apologies. But all working mothers, all coaches, and some of them also have their day jobs, and they manage to find that time. So,
yeah.
Look, I mean, coming from a man and say, yeah, it's easy. Look, you know, the women that I talk to in China, being local or foreign, being non-Chinese, they find a way. You always find a way. Life gives you the ability to find a way.
Yeah.
And I've got on their self-discipline, and I'm going to end on self-discipline.
Okay.
Because self-discipline as a coach is something that I've learned a lot as an entrepreneur now, and building the Wilosophy brand and interacting. Self-discipline time is something that is really, really hard to get right. Okay, what would be your top tips for people to hone their self-discipline skills?
I think, well, I think there are different things that work for different people, right? As coaches, we know there's no
one size
fits all kind of approach. But what really helped me personally is sports. I'm very much into sports, and I had, I think, my brightest insights in the gym, because I use it as a resilience training, as mental training, a focus. So, you know, because you have a lot of failures there, right? When you
I
do
can't lift,
and then
grit kicks in.
Exactly, and then you think, okay, well, I can't say I can't lift 100 kg, and then in the gym you're going to take it easy, right? Because well, that's just, I'm not capable of doing this, right? But okay. But my point is that when you look at your task list and you're overwhelmed with tasks, it's not as tangible as 100 kg bar. So you think you can do all those things on your list, and you don't have this feeling of, you know, you're not aware of your limitations. So that's why people are overwhelmed and they don't have any balance, because they don't feel it. But because I'm a regular gym goer and I feel it physically what the limitation means, I started applying it to my day, you know, to the projects I have, to the tasks I have for one day, and then it's like, okay, can I lift it or not? Am I ready yet or not? And then in the gym, if you fail, well, you just wait until you are ready and then try again, right? So in real life, it's the same kind of thing. you know, failure does not define you. Your failure today does not define you, because you're not ready today, you'll be ready tomorrow.
Growth mindset. It's kind of just thinking. I'm smiling as you're saying that, because one of the things that we talked about in our coaching session was that I've got this rescuer mentality, and if I can do it, I will offer my services. And I think maybe what I need to be able to, and Lou has a really good point of taking that physical constraint of doing something and taking it into and reframing it.
Yeah, just imagine each of your commitment is 20 kg plate, and it's okay, so today I have like 200 kg on my barbell, can I lift it today?
Yeah, and come back to my concept, I think I need to turn those things into barbells and say,
right.
and then maybe to physically
and then go
putting
to
a
the gym and
post-it note
try.
and put it onto that barbell. So, I can't do it, okay, so just don't bother.
Okay, so and then, you should go to the gym with post-it notes, and on each post-it note you have one of your commitments, and then you put them on the plates, and then you try to lift it. Okay, that's too heavy, so what do I get rid of? Which plate do I need to remove? Which
post-it note do I take off? Absolutely. Okay, so that's an interesting concept that we can end out.
I can talk about these connections a lot.
Well, if they, okay, it's a really interesting point to end, but if people wanted to get hold of you, Luba,
we need to,
how
we need
can
to
they...
do another session in the gym where I illustrate all these, resilience tips with help of real...
That's a committed action. So what I'd like you to do is, how committed are you to do this?
100%.
Film it, send it to me. We'll add it during this conversation on the video as a side thing, and talk through it, and I will quiet it down. So please do send that to me. It could be quite interesting. But if they do our viewers wanted to connect to you, Luba, how could they connect to you?
For those in China, the best way to contact me is my WeChat ID, which you can picture here as well.
There you go.
I have websites in Russian and in English, and there's a contact form, and you can contact me as well.
Excellent. So, I'm hot. We're in a garden. It's, I don't know, it's 30 degrees. But thank you for your time. I know you're a busy lady, and now you've got more things up. We've just kind of agreed on a few more things. But that's what it's like being, I guess, starting your own business in Guangzhou. So look, we don't have alcohol on us, which is cool, but we have a coffee shop. This is again Teas Me Coffee. Christine, we're going to come talk to you. But any last words before we say goodbye?
You should have told me about this part before. I could have prepared something more powerful. I just want to say, there's always a way, and well, if you face lots of obstacles, but just remember the obstacle is the way.
Okay, if there's an obstacle, go to the gym. Thank you.
Thank you, Will.
Bye-bye.
Bye.